Well, it's my honor and privilege here today on the campus of Tiffin University to welcome Dr. Francis Dove-Edwin, who is here this semester teaching and has quite a past, quite an athletic background, and is from Sierra Leone. And Dr. Dove-Edwin, thank you for stopping by and chatting with us, and welcome to Tiffin. Tell our fans about your background. You were born in Sierra Leone and you were in the Olympics in '88 and '92. Tell us about it.
Well, normally what I love to say is that I was born in Africa, assembled in Europe, and then made in America. And everybody always wonder, how did that happen? Well, I got some of my education in England, and then I came to America, where I have my studies all the way till I finished my doctorate degree. And then obviously I left, and then I came back, and now I'm here in Tiffin, on campus physically.
Now, you went to the Olympics in '88 and '92.
Yes.
Sierra Leone went through a civil war somewhat recently, but you were telling me before that things there now are good.
Yes, yes. Actually, I went to 2 Olympics. In '92, I was the flag bearer. We had a huge team. We had, I think it was about 16, because we had 2 relays for men and then 1 relay for female. So we had a pretty big team. Sierra Leone went through a stressful time after that, which was between 1993 and all the way up to 2001. And, you know, it really had a terrible impact on me. You know, lost contact with family, you know, all those bases that you used to have just dissipate from you, and you just get drifted away with life. But, you know, after a while, you know, everybody started coming together. It was a stressful time for even the younger kids that I didn't know, because some of them were like child soldiers. They, you know, they had to do, it was horrendous and horrible, some of their experiences, because when I went back, I remember to visit, it was 2001, it was with the United Nations, and they were doing a Sports for Peace program, and, you know, I was selected to go back to meet with the kids, and it was awful. But now things have changed, development is coming in. We have a very good president who is a former businessman, so he's running the country as a business, and President Cromer is doing well, investors are coming in, we're doing extractive industries rapidly growing, we're also growing in terms of educational structure, so a lot of changes, and even infrastructure has been built. We're now rehabilitating all those infrastructure. We've just got a new airport, another one is on the pipeline, the freeways are coming up. So the country is really open for business now.
Now, when did you meet Dr. Bonnie Tiell and talk about what brought you two together? She's been here at Tiffin for quite a long time. Now you're here on campus, but talk about how you met and what you guys are doing at the Olympics. It's an amazing story.
Yes, yes. What happened was I was doing my doctorate degree down in southern Alabama, and I showed up a little bit late because I got a late flight, and I arrived, and it was going to, was it 2004? It was one of the Olympics games coming up. Anyway, I can't remember which one it was. But I showed up, and we were in this hall, and the president of the university was welcoming everyone, and we were talking, and I was sitting right next to, well, now Dr. Bonnie Tiell, and we exchanged numbers, and we were talking, and so she asked me, said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Oh, I'm just here for just a brief summer. I'm heading right back out because I'm going towards the Olympic Games." And she was quite interested about it. So she asked me, I said, "Well, I was a 2-time Olympian." And so that thing, that bond was found, you know, we came together. And what happened then afterwards was I left and towards the games, and she came back to school here, which she was teaching, and then I went to California. So we started coordinating how could we create that some form of an educational program that will be of benefits to the students that she will be teaching, which is in sports management and marketing. And so she came up with this Tiffin Olympic educational program. So we tried it out, and it was in Beijing. You know, it went well, but then we decided that you cannot just keep it only for Tiffin students. How about I said, expand,
Sure.
go nationwide. So she said, okay, well, we're gonna go nationwide. So she published it nationwide, and for 2012, it took a different dimension. And then I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. As General Secretary of Africa,
Right.
why don't we come in, we're going to have Sierra Leone come in and march, because I'm the president of the Sierra Leone Olympian Organization.
Yeah.
And we're going to march with you guys to do a talk about what we intend to do. So she came over to Lausanne in one of our Congress meetings, and she was given the floor along with me to talk about this educational idea. And we marched it, and then we presented it in London, but this time we add another third factor into it. It was not just the students from America coming, but we also wanted to involve those kids from less deprived neighborhood.
Yes.
Those are not going to have the ability to get to the games.
Right.
And normally, most of the times when Games Village is structured, or this development takes place, it always takes place in their neighborhood. Because it's always the deprived neighborhood, they go in and they clear it up and revamp it and make this new city and this new town. So I went in there and I got the English kids to come and be part of it. So here we have the Tiffin students, the less deprived kids, and then now I brought in the Olympians. So we have that trifecta, which turned out well. So into the future now for Brazil, we're still going to have that same thing. We're going to open it up to all the educational students in the US that is part of the program or part of that wants to have that Olympic educational experience can contact Tiffin University and be part of it. So they will do that. And then when we get to Brazil, we're going to have something set up where we'll be able to contact all those from the slums to be part of it. And now, not only that, we're going to have the World Olympian Organization try to back the program, so it gives it a bigger picture. Instead of having it just in that one place at Buckingham Palace, we'll be able to have it throughout at least 3 different areas in Brazil where we'll bring them together and bring the educationists, the socialists, and the children, and give them that day with the Olympians and mentoring by students from America.
And we will put a link on this video so people, if they want to learn more about it, they certainly can. And,
Yes.
and how ironic, you think ahead and what you and Dr. Tiell have been able to do. What if you didn't sit next to her down in Alabama? Maybe this never would have happened.
Well, exactly. but, it's what we call opportunity.
Yes.
And then it's called opportunities when you strive to be successful and then you're given a chance to do what you want to do. That's what creates that opportunity.
And now you're in Tiffin, 4,628 miles away, I think, from Sierra Leone. I looked it up just to make sure.
Right.
Now here you are in Tiffin, Ohio, and I love it. You're embracing the community already. You went out and spoke to a swimming team with the Tiffin Columbian and Tiffin Calvert high schools here in Tiffin. How did they like that? How did you like that?
Well, it was fun to share with them.
Yeah.
You know, it's swimming for me. Swimming is one of my off-season sports. That's what I call it, because there's 2 sports that I like: swimming and then ping pong. And the reason being, those are the 2 sports you can engage in and don't get hurt before you start your normal track season. So they've just become part of my recreational sports. So going over there and talking with the kids was quite interesting for them, because they were, first of all, surprised at how much knowledge I have about swimming.
Yeah.
And then I was telling them of that if they know that all the divers today in the world that you see diving from that 10-meter, 12 and 15-meter board actually copied one American swimmer whose name was Greg Louganis.
Sure.
And when Greg Louganis set that pace, he was able to get 3:10 and he won lots of medals. Everybody, even the Chinese swimmer, the Russian, every swimmers that dive, if you look at their dive and you go back and you pull the tape of Greg Louganis, you will see that it's just the same dive with a different person, a different perspective. So they were surprised that I really knew much about swimming, and we talked about it. You know, I like it. See, one of the things I like is that I like to give back.
Yeah.
You know, because in life you learn some things over time, and you're only going to learn it from people who help you to get out of some situations that you wind up in and mistakes you make in life. Because if you don't have that, you have to remember you're a young kid. when you're 18, you have that invisible attitude, in your 20s and early, you think that you've really seen all of life. And you haven't, because you've not got to that age yet.
Sure.
So when you have those people that have gone through almost similar to you, but are standing there and reaching out to you and explaining to you, positive behaviors that you can change and adopt in life, it makes a huge difference than you just sitting there feeling it by yourself.
Sure.
So that's why I always take my time. And even when they said, oh, who's going to go to Wharton, Sierra Leone, nobody wanted to go there in 2000. You had all these qualified people and everybody else, but nobody wanted to go there because they were worried. And I said, well, I think it's about time that I go home and visit with my people. So I did.
Now, here on campus of Tiffin University, you're teaching. Tell us about what classes, courses you're teaching, and how that's going so far.
Well, I started teaching for Tiffin University was online.
Yes.
So I was like a virtual reality professor. And then finally, I manifested and I'm on campus. I'm teaching global and international management, which also deals with culture and various how international, because you cannot have a company these days and you don't think international. I mean, it's a globalized world. The people from the other side comes to you, whether you're having a teleconference or whether you're having a video conference, but companies move around these days. So I teach one of those classes that addresses that. I teach also lifetime fitness and health. And I'm also teaching another class which deals with recreation, which is designing programs for people to participate in sports, because I believe that people should participate in sports on a recreational aspect, because that's where I started, and that's where you should start. So that focus, I mean, I like professional, commercial, and all of that, but I believe that the recreational aspect should be there, because everyone has the rights to play, where you can go do your own interests. So I do teach that class as well. And then I've also taught beginning business, which is MGM 505. Yeah. And I'm loving it on campus. It's quite nice, and African American History Month is coming up. On the 13th, we're going to have the African students come together and mix with everybody. Will have something going on in Gilmore.
Yeah. You have so much to offer, and I'm impressed just talking to you. Number one, all the places you've been. What a neat experience for somebody that hasn't been to overseas. And you're talking about going to Switzerland, and of course from Africa. Now home is London, yes. Alabama, California. You name it, you've been there. It's an amazing.
Well, the good thing I've learned about that, that's what given me. The perception of man and people is that we are good people. As human beings, we are good people. You have some people that, yes, you push the boundary, but we are good people. And I remember I was meeting this one guy, drove up in this fancy car. We're in Australia. And I was like, why did this guy stop? So he put his car and he was sitting on the stool. And he was looking at the ocean. And I asked him, and he says, so I asked him, I said, how come you just come park here and you look? He says, 10 years ago, I was homeless at this spot. I was like, what? He said, yes. He said, I did everything that you can imagine when I was homeless. I said, and now what are you? He said, oh, I own my own business. I'm doing this and this. I asked him, I said, well, how did you get there? He says, well, I was sitting here one day and I was talking to someone else. And, I wanted food from him. And he says, no, I don't want to give you food. How about if I give you a job? And the guy was shocked. I mean, what do I know? I'm homeless and you want to give me a job. He says, well, I'll give you a job. He started from cleaning, then he learned, and then he was promoted to mailroom. And then while he was there, he didn't just sit down. He went through what's called redemption. Of course, he stopped using all negative behaviors that he had. He changed himself. And now he sits there as a manager.
Very cool.
Yes. I said, I'm driving my car. I said, but I come here every time, once in a while, to remind myself what not to do.
Yes. Well, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. Stay warm. It's very cold out there. Yes. You're not used to this cold, are you?
No, I'm adjusted.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And welcome to Tiffin.
Thank you, sir.
That's Dr. Francis Dove-Edwin, and we'll talk to you next time here on Tiffin University's campus.